Howdy, and welcome back to All In Driving. If things look a little bit different, it's because my office/studio is getting renovated. I'm fixing that up, but for now, we've got some temporary space. However, this video is not about that. I recently got back from Austin for the 2024 US Grand Prix. I went in 2023, that was my first race ever, and it was incredible. My wife and I went, and if you want to see a recap, you can watch this video here. 2024, went by myself. Things were a little bit different. I did some really cool non-race stuff at the track. I met some awesome people in the stands, which I had seats this year instead of general admission. I got this trading card made of myself, and I got this hat signed by Jenson Button and James Vowles. Now, if you're ready, let's saddle up and head to Texas. Now, before we get to the track, I want to talk about the Williams Fan Zone, which is in town, downtown Austin, from, I believe, Wednesday, but maybe Tuesday through Sunday. There's a lot of really cool stuff to do there. There is a display of the car. They have sim racing. They also have a simulator for a shovel. There's a Batak board, which my best was 44 in 30 seconds. The world record on a full board, this one's kind of a mini board, so it's a little bit easier. On a full board, though, is Jenson Button, who did 58 in 30 seconds. There's also Q&A sessions, which are really cool. On Wednesday, both the drivers, Colapinto and Albon, were there. I didn't get there in time for that one, but on Thursday, there was Jenson Button, as I had mentioned before, and I actually got to ask James Vowles a question.
Yeah, so kind of following up from those questions and thinking about Carlos coming in next year, how are you going to decide which car gets the upgrades first? Who are you going to prioritize? Is it just going to be who's doing better at that time? Is that something you can even talk about?
No, happily talk about it. So there's a few ways of doing it. First and foremost, our responsibility as Williams is making sure both cars are upgraded on the leading edge spec. Even today, you can see in a Red Bull or a McLaren or even a Mercedes, you'll sometimes bring it forward one race at the cost of only having one set there. The way I've always operated is straightforward. Flip a coin. Simple as that. Unless we're fighting for a driver's championship, in which case we put the money into that one. But you do it on a fair, equitable basis, whereas if you've done it first time for one driver next, you invert it for the next time. But the key thing, and both Carlos and Alex are absolutely on board with this, is it's about Williams growing as a team rather than one individual at any one time. That includes myself. It's not about me, it's about us as a much bigger organization.
On Friday, I walked 13 plus miles to go around the entire track, inside and out, get views from every single general admission zone, both the good and not so good. I definitely recommend GA for your first time. It's cheap, and you'll get to see if you like being at the race live.
I think that's the Andretti Lotus.
Now, if you're into racing, and you probably are if you're here, you can spend the entire weekend sitting in your seat watching on-track action. This year, we did get Masters Historic, Masters Endurance, and the Carrera Cup, which is my favorite of the three. The race line is crazy. There's like 40 cars, and they are going at it all the time. Away from the track, the main fan zone has team shops, a podium, the blast zone, and it has sim rigs. If you want to do sim racing at COTA, you want to get here early or just plan to stand in line for maybe hours. There are also driver chats, but again, you want to get there early before they close because the pit area shuts down before drivers come on. Friday, I got to see Williams and McLaren. Saturday, I saw Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull, and Haas from further back because I got locked out. But after Red Bull and the Checo fans started to head out, I kind of squeezed in and got closer.
Did you? Yeehaw! Esteban, do you want to give it a go? Yeehaw!
Further along, outside of the track on the main straight, there's a zip line. There's a Coca-Cola fan zone, which has a pit wall exercise, and it also has a reaction challenge. Basically, you've got a wheel in front of you, and you let go of the paddles to release the clutch, and just tests your reaction time.
Here we go. The red lights will come on one at a time. As soon as they see that first red light come on, they're going to squeeze those paddles. As soon as the 5 red lights go out, they will release. Whoever has the fastest reaction time is going to be our winner here. Here we go. Driver, start your engines. Get locked on to the lights.
Both?
Going from lights to checkered flag. As you see that first light, you're going to squeeze. When the lights go out, release. Here we go. Lights are out. Who got it? Who got the fastest time? We're looking on this screen over here. Martin. Martin was 0.2. Where's Martin? Man, Martin, that was intense.
There are other brands that also have interactive exhibits. Tops, you can buy and trade cards. There's a take a card, leave a card. But you can also get a trading card of your self-made. They've done this the last 2 years. I liked last year's style better, but this card this year is pretty cool. At Aramco, you can design your own Formula One car and then use augmented reality to let it loose on the sidewalk. And then Lego has a big area where you can walk around and see a giant Lego McLaren, but you can also build your own tiny scale McLaren. There is plenty of merch if you want it, but be warned, pricing is crazy. Here's a breakdown of what I went through when it comes to merch. So going to the stores was definitely a failure, and more on what I was saying before, pricing is crazy. So at Williams, they would not trade my shirt for another large, even though I had the receipt. Tags are still on it. It's an official Williams shirt. But because I did not buy it at the here on site, they couldn't exchange it. And I think it's because the prices are so much different. I went to the McLaren store, and the hat for, so this is last year's hat. This year's hat, they want to charge $110 for it, which is like almost triple, I think, what it is. I believe it's $45 online at their store, possibly 60, 65, but it's at least double. Now, as we start to get a little further away from actual racing, there are 4 themed areas around the track. The first one is the Cantina, which is Mexican. There is Lucha Libre wrestling. There are mariachi bands. The food around there is Mexican and Latin themed.
That's like you say mean things to her, she'll say mean things to you.
Further down the road, there's the beer garden, which has like the Oompa bands. It's basically a big beer tent. Of the four, it is probably the most basic and least exciting. Then in Lone Star Land, they have roping demo, there's line dance class, and then finally at the ranch, they have the Urias Globe of Death, which is crazy. These guys, it's a family, and they are wild with these motorcycles. I definitely recommend doing both that and the luchador wrestling. The luchador wrestling is very entertaining, a little bit on the cheesy side, but that's what you get with wrestling, especially on a small scale. So I definitely recommend both. Besides the main things that each of these themed areas has, they also have small concerts throughout the day on both Friday and Saturday that are somewhat themed to that area as well. In the main fan zone, there's also a DJ doing sets. And then there are two massive concerts at the Germania Superstage Friday and Saturday nights. This year, Sting was on Friday, Eminem was on Saturday. They were both good shows. One small bonus of being in the Turn 9 bleachers is you are directly in front of the super stage. So if you don't want to take the time to stand in line after the race is done, to get down onto the grass, to hang out there, you can just stay in your seats. You're going to be further away and not really able to see much, but you're there. It's a live show. You can see the TVs, you can hear the music fairly well. So that is an option for you. Also, if you are anywhere else and don't want to make that trek to the lawn, as soon as the racing is over, anybody else, I believe, can come up to those Turn 9 bleachers. So if you've just had a long day, you don't want to go down to the grass, you can just head up to Turn 9 bleachers, find a nice spot, throw your blanket down under the bench, and just chill and watch the concert. Saturday is extra special. After the concert, there's always a fireworks show, and this year, Kraken did a drone show as well that was really cool. If you do stay all night until the end of the concert, typically traffic isn't that bad, but if you're hungry, there's not going to be a lot for you to find. There's some taco trucks, but I would say if you're headed east especially, you can stop into Buc-ee's, which if you don't know Buc-ee's, it is an institution, and they've got brisket, they've got jerky, they've got sandwiches, they're open all night. All right, now let's get into Sunday morning. If you have general admission and you want one of the best spots, which is typically a really good seat high on turn 1 or a couple other spots, you're gonna wanna get there extra early. By the time the gates open, there's gonna be a long line, and there are people that run to seats. If you're there early enough, you can walk and get a good spot. Last year we were there just after open. We didn't have to wait in line too long, but our view was not optimal. It was good, we could see what we wanted. We were on turn 1, but it wasn't the best. Thankfully this year I had seats, which means instead of getting up early, way too early, running to a spot and then staying there all morning to hold it until the race starts at 1 or 2 o'clock, I was able to go to the Globe of Death and watch that show. I made this cool friendship bracelet with some other folks that were there. And then I just kind of leisurely made my way to my seat. Still had plenty of time to watch other cars on track before the Formula One action started on Sunday. As I mentioned already, if it's your first time, general admission is cool. You do have to get up on Sunday early, which sucks, but you get the opportunity to spend just a little bit of money, and the track itself, there's so much elevation that you are gonna find a spot that you can at least see some action and enjoy yourself no matter what time you get there. I've got another video on the way. It may be a couple months from now, but if you are planning to do general admission, that video is gonna show every single spot for GA. Please like and subscribe if you want to get notified when that one comes up. Now, for a first time, general admission is great, but I do not want to do general admission again. And I will say that honestly. Maybe at a different track to do the same thing and kind of get the feel, see the whole, lay of the land. But I won't do GA again in Austin because the bleachers were so convenient. You can still sit in any GA area on any of the days if you want, but always know that you have a seat that you can go back to for whatever reason. So pre-race, we do have some other races. The Carrera Cup, the Masters Historic are going out in the morning. But when it comes to Formula One, we get the Drivers' Parade. Shortly after that, we get the National Anthem. If there is one gripe, one thing I do not like at COTA, it is the lack of audible commentary. In my seat, I could barely hear anything. We kind of didn't really even know when the National Anthem was starting. And it's really frustrating. It definitely brings the experience down. If you're in an area where all you're seeing is the cars go straight by and there's not a video screen, but especially not audio, you have no idea what's going on 85% of the race. You pay a lot of money to see the race and to hear the race and to know what's going on. There are headphones that do a broadcast of the race if you're an American Express holder, but they should still have it available for everybody. The race this year was incredibly exciting. Lando is trying to get past Max for the whole second half of the race. Charles ends up winning and just building on his lead. We couldn't have asked for a better race, honestly, except for maybe a McLaren win to make the Drivers' Championship a little bit closer. The last thing I want to say is getting out on Sunday can take a couple of hours, so do yourself a favor, stay in Austin for a couple days. It's a cool city, or drive to another city in Texas and fly out of there. Whatever you do, do not fly out on Sunday. Even if it's like a 7 p.m., you just don't want to chance it. As the sun sets on another glorious US Grand Prix, let's hop on the plane and head home. Thanks for watching. If you are planning to go to any race, Formula One or otherwise in 2025, leave that in the comments below. I'm really curious where other people are headed. I'd love to share some tips and tricks. I'm probably headed to Montreal, maybe back to Austin. It really depends on how things go, but I also want to hit up maybe some NASCAR, maybe some Formula E, and do different events that I have not done yet. Give this video a like if you want to see more Formula One content or just me going to events, and I will see you in the next one.